What is up, boys and girls? Welcome to TVET Tutorials. Doc over here. Let's get into this video. As you can see, we are answering another question paper of Office Practice N4. This is going to be episode 2. It's pretty much somewhat of a follow-up from the previous video. Right, so just like before, I'm going to be answering a set of questions. As you can see, we have our question paper this side and we have our answers this side. So the first question reads, fill in the following surnames in alphabetical order. Write only the question number in the order of your choice in the answer book. Right, so we are basically required to rearrange these surnames in alphabetical order, right? So we are told that we can choose the order. So yes, we have the privilege of choosing the order. We just have to rearrange them alphabetically. Right, so on the previous video, we basically discussed that alphabetical arrangement is basically a restructuring of a list so that your list becomes ordered alphabetically from A all the way to Z, or the other way around, right? So we also understand that alphabetical ordering or rearranging has two variations, and those variations are ascending order and the descending order. So those are the two options that we are given to choose. We are free to use any of those two, whether we arrange our list in ascending order or descending order. It's still correct, just as long as you actually rearrange your list alphabetically. Right, so let's go ahead and put this into practice. So the first word we have is maboa, right, followed by maboya, then mabua, then mabuala, then poloko. Right, so basically this tells us that our list is in the descending order, because we know that M comes comes after B. Actually, M in the alphabetical sequence comes after B. Right, so the fact that we have B at the bottom of our list means that the order of this list is descending. Right, it starts from Z all the way to A. Right, again, on the previous video we discussed that for both these two variations, the ascending and the descending order, there are three fundamental rules that we need to apply. Right, so we discussed that the first rule was the first initial letter becomes the primary criterion. Right, so that means that every time when we come across M, our order will put that M first before B. You get my point? So M will always come before B because our alphabetical order is in the descending variation form. Right, so if we were to rearrange this the other way around, your list would then begin with boloko, followed by mabuala, then mabua, then maboya, then maboa. Right, so now we have the second rule, which now says your second letter can become your next deciding criterion. Right, you are still permitted to move to the next letter if the second letter is still the same on your list. Just as you can see here, all our M surnames, they have they are followed by A, then B. Right, then you have a difference starting from this point. You see, now they're starting to be different. That is where the second rule applies. right? It says that you can keep on moving to the next letter until you find letters that are different. Then you can start arranging your list from there, right? And then we also have the third rule. In our list, it does not apply. However, I am going to remind you of that rule, is that all punctuations and spaces in your list are automatically ignored, right? So that is that is pretty much what we covered on the previous video, and we just applied it on our list right here, right? So let's go ahead and move on to the next question, which says a formal motion can postpone and or even prevent the discussion of an item. Is this true or false, right? And then we are also asked to substantiate our answer by stating 5 characteristics of a formal motion, right? So to answer the statement that a formal motion can postpone and or even prevent the discussion of an item, this is true, right? And then to substantiate that in the form of stating 5 characteristics, is that the first one is specificity, right? So formal motion has specificity. It's very specific. It avoids an ambiguity. You understand? So it becomes really clear, right? So the second characteristic is clarity, right? Clarity avoids any misunderstandings, right? So a formal motion has clarity. And then you have proposer identification, also seconder identification, right? And then there's also the voting process. Those are the 5 characteristics of a formal motion. Let's move on to the next question, which requires us, or is asking us, what is the correct procedure to follow after a robbery has taken place? The steps to follow, or the procedures to follow after a robbery has taken place, is that you need to contact authorities immediately, ensure the safety of all individuals, do not disturb the crime scene, provide any available information to the police, and cooperate with the investigation. Those are the steps. Let's go ahead and move on to the next question. When designing a business card, which guidelines must be adhered to, right? So we are basically required to mention 5 guidelines, since it is saying out of 5, right? So we're gonna go ahead and mention 5 guidelines. Okay. Consider the use of professional design software, maintain simplicity, include essential contact information, use reliable fonts, and ensure a balanced layout, right? So those are the guidelines that you need to stick to when you are designing a business card. You need to make sure that you use a professional designing software. You maintain simplicity. You do not want your business card to be very complicated. You need to include essential contact information. It is not a business card if it does not have your contact information, right? And then use reliable fonts that are easy to read, right? Remember, we are making an effective business card, right? And then also you need to ensure a balanced layout. You do not want a business card that is very busy, and on the other hand, maybe the text is so dull. You understand? So there needs to be a sense of balance in the layout of your business card, right? So moving on to the next question. After the meeting has taken place, a meeting file must be compiled. All information will be needed to conduct the meeting should be available in the file, right? So we are required to state the information that should be available in the file. After a meeting has concluded, there's certain information that is collected to compile a meeting file, right? So we are required to provide or state the information that should be available in the file, right? So we have agenda, right? Agenda basically gives the meeting direction to say, this is what we are going to talk about, or this is what we were talking about. And we're just making notes to say, okay, in future meetings, this is what we are going to talk about, right? So that is very important. An agenda needs to be there. and then minutes from the previous meetings, right? So before the meeting proceeds, there needs to be a reminder of what was discussed previously, right? And so minutes from previous meetings does exactly that, right? So whenever you are done scribing your minutes, you need to keep them safe because they will be used as reference in the next meeting, right? And then there also needs to be relevant documents, right? If maybe there was a program on the side, it needs to be included in the meeting file so that it is also used as a reference record. You understand? And then there needs to be action items. Action items basically are if on our agenda we discuss that employee A is responsible for task A, employee B is responsible for task B, so on and so forth. The action items then gives those responsibilities or assigns those responsibilities to the necessary individuals. So if employee A is supposed to maybe find business outside, then the action item will say, okay, employee A, you have up until this time to tick this item on the agenda. On the next meeting, we are going to do a follow-up and you are going to be expected to deliver feedback or results. You understand? So that is basically what action items are, and they are very important to keep in a meeting file because again, they act as a tracking record for the next meeting so that whatever is being discussed on the agenda, we know that, oh, okay, this is how far we are and this is how much progress we still need to cover. Right? I hope it all makes sense. And then you also have to have any other necessary materials for discussion. If maybe there are any exhibitions, any external inputs from meeting members, they need to be included in the meeting file, right? All of this needs to be used as reference for the next meeting. That is that, Bafetu. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're watching this video and you still haven't subscribed, click on that subscribe button, click on that bell icon so that you get instant notifications every time we drop new content. All the links to our socials are appearing right up here on the screen. Do check those out. Follow us, communicate with us. If you want us to cover a specific topic, let us know. We will make it happen. Now, as I always say, from myself and my team at TVET Tutorials, adios.